stalked me from school to my best friend's house. What do you want? Oh my god. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Meow. I've been really getting into storytime videos lately. I've been watching a lot of like Tana Mongoose and Gabby Hanna and a lot of other storytime YouTubers, and I started to realize while I was watching those videos that I have a lot of stories that I want to tell because I went through some crazy shit. I have a lot of stories from high school. I have a lot of stories from my 20s where my friends and I did stupid and crazy shit. I have so many ridiculous things that I would love to share with an audience. So here's gonna be my very first try at a storytime video. So today I'm going to tell you the story of a boyfriend that I had that lasted 4 days. That's right, you heard me correctly. 4 days. That's how long my relationship with this guy lasted. Okay, so let's travel back in time a little bit, back to the year 2001 when Kitty graduated high school. Now, I didn't graduate high school on stage like most normal people did. One, I've always had this aversion to ceremonies and anything that's traditional. So I feel like I've always found a way to sabotage my life in a way that I don't have to participate in things like that because it skeeves me out. I don't know. I had one graduation ceremony in junior high and I just fucking hated it. I thought it was the creepiest thing on the planet. So all these children standing around in robes, like going one by one on the stage is just so monotonous and stupid. It's just like, oh my god, please, why are we doing this? This is so dumb. Anyway, so of course I didn't pass a class and I couldn't graduate on time. I got an F in history class, which was taught by a batshit crazy teacher. That's a whole other video. If I ever make a video about this teacher, believe me, you're gonna be like, what the hell? So this history teacher failed me no matter how hard I tried to pass this woman's class, and I had to go to basically a summer school in order to pass this last history class and in order to be able to graduate. So the campus of where I was going to go, I believe it was like a community college, but they had an outside campus where the students from high school would go and take the classes they needed to graduate or whatever. I was taking this history class and I had a couple friends that I made in this history class. By the way, taking the same class in this setting was so much easier that I got a B. Okay? So that says something about the fact that it was the teacher and not the subject. I can learn very well as long as I have a good teacher. If I have the shittiest teacher who makes me feel so anxious that I want to die, I'm not gonna pass the class. Like, sorry, that's never gonna happen. So anyway, I'm in this class and I'm doing pretty well and I'm passing all these tests and I'm feeling pretty good. And I had a friend in that class who introduced me to a friend of his. Disclaimer, I've always had more guy friends than I've had girlfriends. It wasn't until my 30s that I started acquiring more female friends than I did male friends. You get me? So I was super excited to hang out with these two dudes on a daily basis, and at some point one of the dudes realized that he has a crush on me, so he decided to tell me that he has feelings for me. He was pretty good looking, you know, he had the whole like tall, dark, and handsome thing going on, you know, whatever. I thought he was kind of cute. I had a thing for brown eyes, and he seemed like a really nice guy, so I was like, okay, sure, what the hell, why not? Let's give this a go. Why past Kitty? Why? And this guy and I start talking and we start to get to know each other a little bit better. For the sake of the story, first of all, what was his name? I don't even remember this guy's name. Honestly, that's how much I wanted to erase him from my memory because I must have just like deleted his name. So just for the sake of the story, why don't we call him Dingus? Because that's essentially what it was. He was a big old dingus. We start talking, we're starting to get to know each other a little bit better, blah blah blah. So immediately he asks me for my phone number, which I wasn't really comfortable giving him my home phone number at first because if you've been following my videos a little bit, you know the fact that I have psycho parents. And at the time when I was really young, I was 18 at this time, my parents were very strict about me dating. I wasn't allowed to date. Like, dating was not a thing for me. So I was like, you can't call my home, but I had a pager. Okay? So I was like, hey, why don't you page me and then I'll call you? Okay? So he was like, alright, he seemed to understand that I have a very strict mother. He didn't want to get me in trouble, so I gave him my pager number. This is still day 1, by the way. So I go home. I'm at home reading a book, all casual. All of a sudden, my pager goes off, and I'm like, oh, it must be Dingus. So I look at my pager, I see his number, I pick up our home phone, and I give him a call back. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, I was just wondering, like, what you're doing, you know? And I'm like, I'm just sitting there reading. We talk for maybe 5 minutes, and I was like, hey, I kind of gotta go. So, we hang up the phone, I go back to reading my book. 30 minutes later, he calls on the home phone, which I now have next to me. Thank God it wasn't next to my mother. Had my mother picked up, this would have been a whole other story. I pick up the phone and I'm like, hello? And he's like, hey, it's Dingus. And I'm like, hey, we talked like 30 minutes ago? What's up? Nothing. I'm just wondering, you know, like how you're doing, what you doing, what are you up to? Same thing I was doing 30 minutes ago, which is reading my book. Seriously, I gotta get back to you reading my book, so I gotta go. Alright, talk to you later. Bye, I'll see you tomorrow at school. Okay, bye. Okay, I go back to reading. He calls again, 15 minutes later. Hey, I'm just wondering what you're doing. I'm literally doing the same thing I was doing 15 minutes ago when you last called, and the same thing that I was doing 30 minutes before that. What do you want? At this point, I tried to let him know, like, hey, you're calling a lot. Like, can you, like, leave me alone to do the shit that I need to do for school or for, you know, for pleasure, like reading? Can you, like, leave me alone a little bit? And he's like, yeah, alright, sure, no big deal. Like, I'm gonna go now. I know, I'll see you at school tomorrow. He called again, 30 minutes later. Just remembering this, I was literally 18 at the time. Like, just remembering this just makes my blood boil. I was so fucking annoyed. I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, oh, what? I just, like, wanted to know what you're up to. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, I'm literally sitting here on my bed reading. There were no, like, camera phones at the time. I would have otherwise sent him a photo of me just, hey, I'm just sitting here fucking reading. Seriously, what do you want? Anyway, I talked to him for the last time and I'm like, dude, seriously, I've got shit to do. I have homework. Like, you need to leave me alone. I'll see you at school literally tomorrow. So finally, he stops. Next day, I go to school. He's there and he says, I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, oh, good. I can't wait to find out what this is. He has a gift back for me. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. Maybe he got me, like, I don't know, like a Starbucks gift card or something, or like something cute like that. No, ladies and gentlemen, he did not. He got me a tiny little sample bottle of his cologne. What else did he bring me? A tiny bottle of his aftershave. And there was one other thing that I don't remember. I honestly don't remember for the life of me what that other thing was, but he gave me the stuff and he says, here so you can think of me when I'm not there, so these scents remind you of me. I was like, okay. We've kind of been dating for like a day, like, calm down. But alright, sure, this is nice, I guess, I'll take it home. So I take this crap home and I put it like in my bathroom, like by my sink, and I'm staring at the stuff and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this shit? Like, I don't like this guy that much. I literally just met him a couple weeks ago and like, what? Huh? That day, he continues to do the same thing. He calls me with intervals of like 30 to 15 minutes. I tell him, hey dude, you gotta stop this. My parents are getting mad. I gotta go. I'll see you at school tomorrow. You can tell me whatever the hell you need to tell me literally tomorrow at school. Like, it's I show up on the third day. You know, this is now day number 3. And, you know, he's like super psyched to see me. He's so excited. He's like, did you smell my cologne? Did you smell my aftershave? Did it remind you of me? Like, okay, like, relax. bro, calm down. This is literally the third day of us kind of dating. Like, chill. So if you're kind of getting the picture at this point that this guy's a little psycho, good, you're keeping up. This is now day 3, and I'm starting to realize more and more that he's completely insane. We had a little break that we take at some point, like between our studies and when we come back to like take a test or a quiz, whatever. So we were taking a walk like around the campus that we were at, and kind of holding hands, you know, trying to be cute, and we're talking or whatever. And at some point during the conversation, we start to talk about sex. Now, I was a virgin still at this point. I didn't lose my virginity till I was, I think, 20. So, little 18-year-old me, you know, just innocently holding hands with this guy, and that I just literally met a couple weeks ago, that I've kind of been sort of dating for 3 days. And he's holding my hand, and as we're walking, he tells me, "I can't wait till we make love for the first time." I was like, "I'm sorry, what? Come again?" And he says again to me, "Yeah, I can't wait till like we make love together for the first time. You know, it's gonna be so special and like so intimate." "Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, cause you know we're gonna lose our virginity to each other, right?" And I'm like, sure. Yeah, that's happening. I didn't even know what to say after that. I just kind of like trailed off and tried to change the conversation, but he was super psyched about the fact that we were apparently gonna have sex together for the first time very, very soon. In my head, I was like, "That's not happening, bro. Are you crazy? Like, no, I just barely met you." I didn't have very many rules for having sex for myself, really. The only thing that I was really cautious about was like, one, I knew I wanted to be very safe. I knew I wanted to be on birth control and to have access to condoms by the time I was going to be having sex with somebody. And 2, I wanted to be loved, and I wasn't in love with this guy. No! Anyway, at this point I start to realize that he's really clingy and really crazy. So at this point in my life I had 3 best friends. One of them, Steph, I'm still best friends with like 20 plus years later. The other 2 people I'm not close to anymore, but you know, we occasionally still see each other. We're still very cordial, but whatever. At this point I was like best friends with this guy. Let's call him Charlie. So Charlie and I were like best friends, and Charlie's gay. So Charlie likes men. He likes dick. Charlie does not like vagina in any way, shape, or form. So once in a while, like because my campus was close to Charlie's house, I would walk to his house afterwards, and we would like hang out for a little bit. I've done this a couple times during the few weeks that I've already been in the school. As usual, that day I was like, "Oh my god, I've got to get to Charlie's house because I got to tell him about this crazy guy I'm seeing." And he had already been keeping up with the story because, you know, every single day I would talk to my best friends on the phone and tell them about this crazy guy. So on this day I was like, I said goodbye to him as fast as I could and walked to Charlie's house in order to like hang out with him and give him an update about this like ridiculous person. I get to his house and we're sitting there chilling for 15 minutes or so. He puts on the movie Dogma. We're sitting there like hanging out, no big deal. All of a sudden, like 15-20 minutes into us hanging out, I hear, and we stop and we're like, who could that be? His parents are at work, my parents are at work. No one's supposed to come to the door. It's like the middle of the afternoon. Like, who the hell is this? And again, we hear. We look at each other, as you know, best friends often do when we have the same thought at the same time, and we're like, what if it's him? What if he followed you here? And I'm like, no, just no, that would be so crazy. Like, no way, right? Charlie goes to the door. He opens the door. It's Dingus. I'm like dumbfounded. My jaw's like literally on the floor. I'm like, what is he doing here? Why is he here? But apparently this guy decided it was a great idea to stalk me to my best friend's house and come over unannounced. So I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, so this is Dingus thing I was telling you about. This is awkward. So he comes over, we all sit down in Charlie's bedroom and we like eat snacks and we watch Dogma. Till this day I don't remember the majority of that movie because the thing that I was concentrated on was the fact that Dingus stalked me from school to my best friend's house and was now sitting there with us and was making the situation very awkward. And I'm like, what do I do? So at some point I'm like, hey, I gotta go home, and I used to take the bus back then to get home, and I was like, we gotta go. So me and Dingus leave Charlie's house. I get on my bus, I leave. Immediately when I get home, I call Charlie and my other two best friends. What the fuck, right? Like, this guy's nuts. I need to break up with him, right? They're like, yeah, like, he's crazy. He's literally crazy. Like, he stalked you because he's apparently, like, jealous or something. What the hell's going on? Of course, as predicted, Dingus calls me on the phone that day, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Why did you, like, follow me to Charlie's house? That was really weird. Like, we didn't invite you. I didn't invite you. Like, why did you do that? And he tells me that he was jealous because he thought that I was gonna be cheating on him with Charlie. I'm like, dude, you understand Charlie's gay, right? Like, I told you this. He's gay. Very, very gay. Likes dick. Does not like vagina. And plus he's like my best friend. He's like my brother. I would not... Ew! He does not seem to believe me. He literally does not seem to believe me. After we hang up the phone that night, I was like, okay, this is done. I'm done. I pack up all the stupid crap that he gave me to remind me of him. I pack it up in the same exact little, like, fucking gift bag that he gave me, and I take it to school with me the next day. Early in the morning, I show up with the shit in my hand, and I'm like, hey, good morning. Here's your stuff back. We're done. And he's like, dumbfounded. He does not understand what's going on. He's like, what? No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to follow you to Charlie's house. I believe you. I believe you. And I'm like, no, bro. You were like continuously insinuating that I'm cheating on you with my gay best friend, which is nuts. Like, literally crazy. I'm like, no, we're done. This is over. Like, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm like, I don't know why you gave me all this crap anyway. This is not what you do after, like, seeing each other for less than a week, but here's your shit back. I do not want it. He was like, why don't you keep it, you know, to remind you of me? I'm like, no, I do not want your crap. Take it. I'm like, I'm done. Anyway, I very forcefully tell him that I'm fucking done with his ass, and I walk away. I must have been extremely I must have been extremely, like, because he never ever spoke to me again. I made it very fucking clear. I'm like, if you fucking call me, I swear to God, like, I'm gonna end your life. So that was over. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? On the third day of us dating, you suddenly decide I'm gonna have sex with you? Like, I'm a fucking virgin. I barely, like, held hands and kissed a guy. You think I'm gonna let you stick your dick inside my virgin vagina? No. So yeah, that was the end of that. So that's the story of my 4-day boyfriend. Yeah, so that's my story of dating this really insane guy for 4 days and basically nearly losing my mind. But I ran into him once since then, like years later. We just kind of said hi to each other. He seemed like he had matured a tiny little bit, but I was like, yeah, I am not dealing with your crazy. No, thank you. Anyway, if you guys have similar stories, which I don't think you will, but anyway, if you do have any, like, crazy stories about people that you've dated, and if they're really funny and weird like this, please leave them in the comments below. I really like hearing the shit, and I like talking to you guys. So, I hope you enjoyed this ridiculous shit show, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.